Hi everybody, this video I've had just a horrible time trying to shoot. It seems like when I started shooting this video previously, then like everybody and their sister decided they wanted to call my house and talk to me right then. This was a video that I've said in a previous video, I believe last year, that if I ever found, scary stories to tell in Dark Treasury, that I would tell it, talk about it. Well, of course, as I've mentioned previously, yep, I found a book, obviously, because I've got it here. But I have, a few stories out of this book and a couple other books that I wanted to share as part of my scary stories telling videos. Anyway, this story is called Clinkty-Clink. I'm going to read the story more or less verbatim, like I did with the other scary stories to tell in the dark stories that I used in previous videos. And then I got a very hysterical tale to tell about this video. Alright, so here's the story. It's called, as I mentioned before, Clinkety-Clink. An old lady got sick and died. She had no family and no close friends. So the neighbors got a grave digger to dig a grave for her. And they had a coffin made, and they placed it in her living room. As was the tradition, they washed her body and dressed her up in her best clothes, then put her in her coffin. When she died, her eyes were wide open, staring at everything and seeing nothing. The neighbors found 2 old silver dollars on her dresser, and they put the coins on her eyelids to keep them closed. The neighbors lit candles and sat up with the old lady so that she would not be too lonely on the first night that she was dead. The next morning, a preacher came and said a prayer for the old lady. Then everybody went home. Later, the gravedigger arrived to take her to the cemetery and bury the old lady. The gravedigger stared at the silver dollars on her eyes, and he picked them up. How shiny and smooth they were. How thick and heavy. They're beautiful, the gravedigger thought. Just beautiful. He looked at the dead woman. With her eyes wide open, the gravedigger felt like the old lady was staring at him, watching him hold her coins. It gave the gravedigger a creepy feeling. The gravedigger then put the coins back on those eyes of the old lady to keep them closed. But before he knew it, the gravedigger's hands reached out again and grabbed the coins and stuck them into his pocket. Then the gravedigger grabbed a hammer and quickly nailed shut the lid on the coffin. "Now you can't see anything," he said to her. Then he took the old lady out to the cemetery and buried her as fast as the gravedigger could do. When the gravedigger got home, he put the 2 silver dollars in a tin box and shook it. The coins made a very cheerful rattling sound, but the gravedigger wasn't feeling very cheerful. The gravedigger couldn't forget those eyes of the old woman staring at him. When it got dark, a storm came up and the wind started blowing. The wind blew all around the house. The wind came in through the cracks and around the windows and down the chimney. Bazoo! It went bazee, bazee, bazoo! The fire flared and flickered. The gravedigger threw some fresh wood on the fire, got into bed, and pulled the blankets up to his chin. The wind kept blowing. Bazoo! It went bazee, bazee, bazoo! The fire flared and flickered and cast evil-looking shadows upon the walls. The gravedigger lay there thinking about the dead woman's eyes staring at him. The wind blew stronger and louder, and the fire flared and flickered and popped and snapped, and the gravedigger got more and more scared. Suddenly the gravedigger heard no other sound. Clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink it went. Clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink. It was the silver dollars rattling inside the tin box. "Hey!" the gravedigger shouted. "Who's taking my money?" But all he heard was the wind blowing, bazee, bazee, bazoo, and the flames flaring and flickering and snapping and popping, and the coins going clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink. He leaped out of bed and chained the door. Then the gravedigger hurried back to the bed. But the gravedigger's head had barely touched the pillow when he heard clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink. Then the gravedigger heard something way off in the distance. There was a voice that was crying, "Where is my money? Who's got my money? Who? Who?" And the wind blew, "Bazee, bazee, bazoo!" And the fire flared and flickered and snapped and popped, and the money went clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink. The gravedigger was really scared. He got out of bed and piled all the furniture against the door, and the gravedigger put a heavy iron skillet over the box. Then the gravedigger jumped back into bed, covered his head up with the blankets. But the money now rattled louder than ever, and way off a voice cried, "Give me my money! Who's got my money? Who? Who?" And the wind blew, and the fire flared and flickered and snapped and popped, and the gravedigger shivered and shook and went, "Oh, Lordy, Lordy!" Suddenly the front door flew open, and in walked the ghost of the dead woman with her eyes wide open, staring at everything and seeing nothing. And the wind blew, "Bazee, bazee, bazoo!" And the money went clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink, and the fire flared and flickered and snapped and popped, and the ghost of the dead woman cried, "Oh, where is my money? Who's got my money? Who? Who?" And the gravedigger moaned, "Oh, Lordy, Lordy!" The ghost could hear her money going clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink in the tin box, but her dead eyes couldn't see the box. So she reached out and tried to find it. The wind went, "Bazee, bazee, bazoo!" And the money rattled, clinkety-clink, clinkety-clink, and the fire flared and flickered and snapped and popped, and the gravedigger shivered and shook and moaned, "Oh, Lordy, Lordy!" And the woman cried, "Give me my money! Who's got my money? Who? Who?" "You've got it!" Well, this story, part of the reason why this is one of my favorite stories out of this book, out of More Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which of course is the middle book in, the Scary Stories Treasury, is because I was in an AP drama class in high school, my sophomore year of high school. I loved the class. I got a A or a B in it. I forget offhand what I got, but I learned actually a lot in that class. You have to get special permission to get into the AP classes, especially that one. But as part of our fall performance, which was part of our final, we had to perform something. Well, I picked to do Clinkety-Clink, just because, I figured I like telling scary stories and what have you, and that would have been fun. It was. Oh, it was great. What it is it was like I mentioned, in October. Of course, as you all know, I happen to be a huge fan of Halloween. I'm not going to lie about it. Well, what it is the high school I went to, in the library, and I'm not making this up, they had a casket, like a real, person-sized, grown-up person-sized casket, and they had one of the skeletons from the biology department laying in the casket. And, what they did is the auditorium was connected to the library, and through a series of doors there at the high school. I don't know if I've told you all this, but the high school Tony and I went to was a small high school when we went there. So a small high school when his mother went there. His mom went to the same school we did too. We went K through 12, the same K through 12 that his mom went through. This all linked through, a series of doors and what have you. But they just took the coffin. Some of the kids from the drama class took the coffin, and when I did Clinkety-Clink for the class on the stage, they actually had a night when we did this. One of the girls, and her name was Carrie, I can remember this. She got in and pretended to be the dead lady, and Brandon Keaton, who, God, I wish I could see him again and just say hi to him, in person, him and his wife, and I'd love to meet his wife and kids. See, I liked him a whole lot as an acquaintance. He played the gravedigger. Oh, we had the best time doing that, and there was actually some of the kids had this idea to help me out with that, and we had the best time doing that. And I remember when I said, "You've got it," we agreed to put a spotlight on one of the kids at the performance, I remember who I picked just because she had a bizarre name. Nothing against her. She was a totally sweet girl, too. She was a grade ahead of me. Her name was Heike, and Heike, if you're watching this, I still remember doing that to you. I was like, I pointed right at her in the audience and said, "You've got it!" And they put that spotlight on her, and her eyes got just so big. It was just the funniest thing in the whole world. And it's just, to this day, I still think that is absolutely hysterical. I mean, it's just, oh, I loved it. I mean, it's just, I wish my parents could have been there. Actually, no, I take that back. My mom did see me do that. But it was just, oh, we had the best time doing that. I mean, you know, that was like one of the last times I ever got to be on my high school stage. I mean, I'd been on it a lot, even as a kid, you know, because my parents made me take dance classes, and that's where we'd have our recitals at the high school. You know, purely a Kentucky experience, I tell you what. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I've got some more scary story videos that I wanted to tell, but I just really wanted to start off my first scary story with that, because that scary story has a special meaning for me. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. So hang on, I've got more videos to shoot, alright? So hang on.